Kevin Stefanski's problem wasn't just that he hesitated. It's that he hesitated too long. While Dillon Gabriel stumbled through starts, Shedeur Sanders watched from the sidelines, waiting for the coaching staff to stop pretending control was strategy. This wasn't about talent evaluation. It was about a head coach stuck in his ways, too concerned with system in order to recognize a spark when it lit up the locker room. And now, after weeks of missteps, Stefanski's being forced to pivot. Not because he wants to, but because Haslam made it clear he no longer has a choice.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
That pivot might be the Browns' only chance at saving the season. Sanders has already done more off the bench than Gabriel could manage with a full playbook. And the reaction from players and fans is proof this isn't a gamble anymore. It's the correction of a leadership failure. Stefanski's reluctance nearly derailed the momentum, but Haslam's decision may have just given Cleveland something they haven't had in years: a reason to believe in the quarterback room again. The Cleveland Browns just detonated a quarterback controversy, and the fallout has Kevin Stefanski scrambling. Jimmy Haslam, the Browns owner, didn't just suggest or tease a move. He confirmed it. Shedeur Sanders is the starting quarterback for the next stretch of games. And that sound you heard? That was the glass shattering on months of hesitation, cautious strategy, and stubborn loyalty to a status quo that clearly wasn't working. For Browns fans, this moment didn't come out of nowhere. It's been simmering beneath the surface all season. Dillon Gabriel, despite being handed the keys multiple times, just hasn't delivered. The numbers are forgettable. The impact? Practically non-existent. No spark. No urgency. No reason to believe that he was the answer to Cleveland's never-ending quarterback curse. Meanwhile, Shedeur Sanders, the highly touted, unfairly passed-over draft pick, has been stuck behind the curtain waiting. Waiting while the team slogged through uninspired games. Waiting while fans asked what the coaching staff was seeing that they weren't. Waiting while Kevin Stefanski clung to a rigid game plan that prioritized control over results. But now, the waiting is over. Haslam's decision doesn't just bench Gabriel. It sidelines a coaching philosophy that has prioritized safe over smart. Stefanski is now exposed because the implication is crystal clear. He wasn't going to make this move on his own. It had to come from above. And that alone says everything. This wasn't about performance data. This was about a coach unwilling to let go of control. Stefanski has built a reputation on methodical, system-based football. He wants predictability, players that fit his style. That's why Shedeur Sanders scared him. Sanders isn't predictable. He's not a plug-and-play guy. He's a leader. He's got flash, confidence, and an undeniable presence. And those things don't always sit well with coaches who are used to pulling every string. Stefanski didn't want to be challenged. He wanted obedience. And that might be the most damaging miscalculation of his tenure. Because what Sanders brings to this team isn't just a better stat line, it's energy. When he gets under center, the offense comes alive. The sideline stops looking like a funeral. There's a jolt. The kind that tells you this is the guy teammates want to rally behind. He plays like someone who knows exactly what's at stake. And that energy? That's not something you can coach. You either have it or you don't. And Cleveland has been starved for that kind of presence. Year after year, it's been a revolving door of quarterbacks. Some who couldn't handle the pressure, others who were never meant to lead in the first place. But Sanders is different. He's not rattled. He thrives in high-pressure situations. He wants the responsibility. And when he speaks, people listen. So why did it take this long? Let's not pretend it's all about scheme fit or developmental timelines. Sanders should have been on the field weeks ago. But his path to the starting role was blocked not by performance, but by perception. Off-field narratives that colored his draft stock whispered concerns about maturity, media distractions, or how he'd handle being the guy. But none of those concerns have shown up where it actually matters, on the field. Every time Sanders has taken reps, whether in preseason, practices, or his limited in-game appearances, he's delivered. And yet, the team treated him like a backup plan, like a maybe instead of a must. That's not just poor talent management. That's a symptom of a bigger problem. One where old-school thinking and outdated gatekeeping still have a seat at the table. Stefanski has, intentionally or not, embodied that mindset. He's the type of coach who would rather lose with the guy he trusts than win with the guy he can't control. That's why he kept Gabriel on the field. Even when it was obvious to everyone, that Sanders was the spark this team needed. And now, with Haslam stepping in and taking the decision out of Stefanski's hands, the message is loud and clear. The Browns are done waiting. They're done letting ego and outdated philosophies hold this team back. Done wasting talent. Done hoping things magically turn around without making the bold move that everyone knows is necessary. This is a shift, a pivot, not just for the quarterback position, but for how this team chooses to operate going forward. Because starting Shedeur Sanders isn't just about one game. It's about the future of this franchise. It's about saying we're building around this guy. We're not protecting him from the spotlight. We're handing him the mic and saying, lead. And that's exactly what he's been waiting for. Let's talk about what this means for the locker room. Up until now, you could feel the tension. Players see what's happening. They know when talent is being wasted. They know when a coach is clinging to the wrong guy. That wears on morale. It creates a divide. But now, with Sanders stepping into the role, the energy has already changed. The locker room isn't just reacting to the decision, they're embracing it. There's buy-in. That doesn't happen for just anyone. It happens when a player has earned the respect of his teammates, when he's put in the work, when he shows up ready every time. And it's not just the team. The fans are re-engaged. The same people who were tuning out are now leaning back in. Because no matter what happens in the next few games, there's finally hope again. Not just in the abstract, but rooted in something real, something tangible. Because say what you will about Sanders' background or the media attention he brings, he wins people over. He plays with heart, with clarity, with purpose. And for a city like Cleveland, that matters. That means something. Now the challenge is on Stefanski and the rest of this coaching staff to support him. That means no more half-hearted game plans. No more conservative play calling designed to minimize risk instead of maximizing talent. If Sanders is the guy, then let him be the guy. Build the offense around him. Trust his instincts. Give him room to lead. Because this is your shot. This is the pivot point Cleveland has been chasing for over a decade. And if they blow this, if they pull him too early or refuse to adapt or fall back into old habits, then it's not just another failed quarterback experiment. It's a failure of leadership. A failure to learn from the past and trust the present. And frankly, the Browns can't afford another one of those. This is a franchise that has flirted with success, tasted it just enough to remember what it feels like, but never committed to it fully. That ends now. Or it should, if they're serious about building something real. So let Shedeur lead. Back him. Elevate him. And get out of the way. Because this isn't about potential anymore. It's about performance. It's about leadership. And most importantly, it's about trust. The fans are watching. The players are watching. And every single decision from this point forward will tell us whether Cleveland is finally ready to become the team it could be, or if it's still haunted by the team it's always been. If you've stuck around through the drama, the false starts, and the constant quarterback churn, hit the like button. Drop a comment. Was this the right move? Is Shedeur the guy? And if you're ready for more of the chaos, the comebacks, and the behind-the-scenes shakeups, make sure you subscribe. Because this chapter in Cleveland isn't just getting interesting. It might finally be the one worth watching. What makes this moment so defining, so charged with possibility and pressure, isn't just that Shedeur Sanders is starting. It's that everything Cleveland has been dancing around for the last few years is now crashing into focus. All the missteps, all the half-baked quarterback plans, all the desperate signings and over-calculated hesitations. It's all here, culminating in this decision. And let's be brutally honest, it's not just about whether Shedeur succeeds. It's about what happens if he does. Because if he steps onto that field and starts producing, if the offense looks more alive, the locker room more connected, and the fans louder, then every move this team didn't make becomes that much louder in hindsight. The delay becomes damning. The stubbornness becomes indefensible. Kevin Stefanski has spent a long time crafting a reputation as a composed, analytical, system-first coach. The guy who keeps everything measured and steady, even when the season veers off course. But this time, that approach might have worked against him. Because measured is fine until it turns into paralyzed. For weeks, he watched Dillon Gabriel flounder. Saw an offense sputter out like a dying engine. Watched fans file out of games with dead eyes. And still, he held firm. Still, he opted for the plan. Still, he refused to budge from a quarterback who, to be blunt, never looked like the long-term answer. Meanwhile, the guy who might actually be the answer was held back, boxed in, and told to wait his turn. It wasn't just cautious. It was tone-deaf. And Jimmy Haslam clearly felt the same way. Because make no mistake, this wasn't a collaboration between coach and ownership. This was an override, a message, and maybe even a prelude to what's coming next if Stefanski doesn't adjust fast. Haslam didn't just back Shedeur. He bypassed the entire coaching staff to make sure it happened. That doesn't just shift quarterback depth, it shifts power dynamics. In one move, the balance tilted. And now the coach is on the back foot, while a rookie QB just got handed the keys and the spotlight. And yeah, that's a lot for Shedeur. But it's also exactly where he thrives. Because no matter what anyone said during draft season about distractions, about ego, about the weight of expectations, Shedeur Sanders has consistently proven one thing. He shows up. Whether it's noise in the media or doubt in the front office, he doesn't rattle. He performs. He leads. And he earns the trust of the people on the field, where it matters most. That's the intangible nobody could measure during pre-draft analysis. The reason players respect him. The reason the locker room immediately shifted when his name was called. He's not trying to be something he's not. He's just confident, clear, and unapologetically focused. And that's what Cleveland has needed for years. Let's talk about what this says about the team's broader philosophy. Because this isn't just about a single quarterback battle. This is about whether Cleveland finally understands what the modern NFL demands. Because newsflash, the game has changed. You don't win by babying rookies into the system for 3 years while pretending your placeholder quarterback can somehow flip the switch mid-season. You win by identifying talent early and building around it without hesitation. The league's most successful franchises, Kansas City, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, they didn't wait. They saw what they had, leaned in, and shaped their offense around their guy. They didn't ask, is he ready? They asked, what can we do to help him succeed right now? That's the shift Cleveland has resisted for too long. And now, finally, they've been pushed into it, whether they like it or not. Because this is no longer a development year. The fans aren't tolerating another rebuilding excuse. The locker room isn't going to follow a coach who plays politics over production. And ownership? They've shown they're willing to get involved if the people in charge won't move quickly enough. Which brings us right back to Stefanski. If Shedeur succeeds, and there's a strong case he will, then Stefanski's earlier hesitation becomes more than just a bad call. It becomes a liability, a reflection of a coach more invested in protecting his philosophy than adapting to his team's needs. And in today's NFL, that kind of coach gets left behind. And yet, there's a way forward, if Stefanski's willing to take it. He has to pivot. Immediately. No ego. No defensiveness. No trying to wrest back control just to prove a point. If Shedeur is your starter, then build the system around him. Open the playbook. Play to his strengths. Make it clear, not just in press conferences, but on the field, that the team is behind this new direction. Because if there's even a whiff of internal friction, if there's any sense that Stefanski is tolerating Sanders instead of trusting him, that's going to leak into every part of this team. And once that trust is broken, it doesn't come back. Not for players, not for fans, and not for ownership. And really, Stefanski only has one shot left to get this right. Because Haslam making this move now is a clear sign. The leash is short. The grace period is over. The Browns aren't handing out participation trophies for almost making the playoffs or having solid schemes. They want results. And they want them now. Which means the Sanders era isn't just about proving he belongs. It's about proving this entire team can grow with him. And maybe that's what makes this so compelling. Because this is more than a quarterback change. It's a test. A challenge to everyone in the building. Can they finally stop overthinking? Can they trust what they see, not what they planned for 6 months ago? Can they break the cycle that's kept them stuck in football purgatory for over a decade? Because Shedeur Sanders? He's ready. He's been ready. He's not carrying baggage. He's carrying expectations. And those are very different. Baggage drags you down. Expectations push you forward. And right now, he's pushing Cleveland into a new chapter, whether they're ready or not. So now the real pressure begins. Not on Sanders, but on the people around him. The coaching staff, the front office, the veterans. They all have to rise to the moment. Because they're no longer playing to see what happens. They're playing to build a future. And Shedeur is the foundation. Will there be growing pains? Of course. He's young. He'll make mistakes. But he'll also make plays that Gabriel simply couldn't. He'll move the ball. He'll command attention. And he'll inspire teammates in a way Cleveland hasn't seen in years. And honestly, that's the only thing that matters now. Because this fan base isn't looking for perfection. They're looking for a reason to believe. A quarterback worth investing in. A leader they can rally around, not just for this season, but for seasons to come. That's what's on the line. Not just the next drive or the next win, but the next era. If Cleveland plays this right, this is where the turnaround starts. But if they fall back on old habits, if they second-guess, undercut, or hesitate, they'll waste it. And this time, the fallout will be bigger than ever. And here's the kicker. This isn't just a see-what-he-can-do experiment. This is the moment Cleveland has been avoiding for years. The moment they stop trying to patch over problems with veterans, half-measure fixes, or PR-friendly depth charts, and finally take a swing on something real. Not just hype. Not a stopgap. Real potential. Shedeur Sanders represents that. He is that. And now that he's starting, everything changes. The excuses are gone. The veil has been lifted. You can't put him in the game and then act like this is some test run. No. Not after Jimmy Haslam himself had to come down from the owner's box and make it happen. That kind of move doesn't get undone. That's not a trial. That's a statement. It means the Browns are no longer just playing games. They're playing for direction, for identity. And they're finally letting someone take the wheel who might actually know where to go. And while Stefanski might still be trying to regain control of the narrative, control of the locker room, control of his future, it's too late. The second Shedeur steps onto that field, control shifts to results. And those results are either going to expose everything Cleveland's been doing wrong, or finally start proving they got something right. Because here's what everyone's missing in all the noise about readiness and development timelines. Shedeur Sanders already has what this team has lacked for years, a pulse. He brings tempo. He brings urgency. He brings belief. When Dillon Gabriel was under center, the team looked like it was waiting for something to happen. With Shedeur, they move like they expected. That alone is transformative. That confidence is contagious. You can't fake that. You can't teach that. And while yes, there are still questions. How will he handle pressure? Can he adapt to pro defenses? Will the playbook expand fast enough? Those are questions every rookie QB faces. The difference is that Sanders is bringing more to the table than just mechanics and film sessions. He brings identity. And that is something this team hasn't had since when? Baker's rookie season? And even that was a flash in the pan. This feels different. Because it's not just hype or narrative, it's traction. You can see it in the players' reactions, in the interviews, in the crowd noise. The moment his name was called, everything got louder, sharper, focused. So now the Browns have a choice to make. Not just Stefanski, everyone. Do they go all in on this? Do they back their quarterback like other successful franchises back theirs? Or do they try to micromanage this into the ground again? Because if they don't commit fully, if they try to treat Sanders like a plug-and-play fix instead of a franchise cornerstone, they're going to waste the best opportunity they've had in over a decade. And the fans? They're not going to wait around for another rebuild. Not again. Not after this. Jimmy Haslam didn't just name Shedeur the starter because it sounded good. He did it because time's up. The team's been treading water for too long, wasting prime years of defensive talent, mismanaging the quarterback position, and watching other franchises pass them by. This is the reset button. This is the lifeline. And what's wild is, it could actually work. Because Shedeur Sanders didn't get here by accident. His draft slide wasn't about talent. It was about perception. He got tagged with off-field concerns, media distractions, questions about maturity. All the usual noise that creeps in when a player doesn't fit the exact box scouts want to check. But he didn't let that define him. He came in, kept his head down, learned the system, and waited. And now, he's ready. More than ready. And he's not just playing to win games. He's playing to rewrite the narrative that's followed him since draft night. Every snap, every drive, every touchdown is a rebuttal to the teams that passed on him. The coaches who doubted him. The media that second-guessed him. That edge? That's power. And if Cleveland taps into it, if they build with it instead of fearing it, they might actually have something special. But it has to be now. No more conservative play calling. No more training wheels. No more managing expectations. If he's the starter, then treat him like one. Let him lead. The Browns have the chance to stop being a cautionary tale and start being a blueprint. All they have to do is follow through. The pressure's on Stefanski now in a way it never has been before. Because if Shedeur succeeds, Stefanski doesn't get credit for developing him. Not after dragging his feet for weeks. Not after making him wait behind a quarterback who wasn't delivering. If this works, the spotlight's going straight to Haslam for stepping in, and to Sanders for delivering. That's a tough pill for any coach to swallow. But that's the reality now. And if it doesn't work, well, then Stefanski's tenure might just get swept up in the wreckage. Because you can't survive second-guessing your own roster, fighting your own ownership, and missing on your quarterback, all in one season. And make no mistake, the Browns are at a crossroads. Shedeur Sanders is either the spark that ignites a long-overdue transformation, or he's another name in a long line of almosts. But based on what we've seen, based on the shift in energy, based on how this locker room has responded, this doesn't feel like another almost. This feels like something real. And maybe, just maybe, Cleveland is finally ready to stop sabotaging itself long enough to let it happen. So if you're riding this wave with us, if you've been waiting for this team to finally wake up, hit that like button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this the right call? Should Stefanski even be coaching this new era? And if you want to keep following the drama, the power moves, and the long overdue reckoning in Cleveland, make sure to subscribe. Because ready or not, the Shedeur Sanders era has begun. And it's about to get loud.